Welcome to the Stuff You Should Think About podcast, where I answer everyday questions about phenomena and objects. Hey, how's it going? I'm G. I'm a little on the little on the downside, but never mind about that. So today I want to talk about this phrase people throw around a lot now: a 5-day weekend. And when you first hear it, it sounds kind of fake. It sounds like one of those work culture phrases where somebody says something real shiny and then you find out it just means you answer an email in a different room. But the basic idea is not that people somehow discovered extra days hiding behind Thursday. It's more like a redesign of the week. What people usually mean is this: instead of the standard 5 work days spread in the same old pattern, the schedule gets rearranged so you have more continuous days off. Sometimes that means a 4-day work week. Sometimes it means compressed hours where you still find you'll be working the full amount, just packed into a few lesser days. Sometimes it's a flexible work week where people can move hours around based on the job, the team, or the deadlines. And I think that's the part that gets missed. It's not automatically extra vacation time. It isn't just, hey, nobody come in on Friday and we all pretend the work vanished. That's not how it goes. Usually, this only works if the job can be measured by output, meaning what got done, what got shipped, what got solved, what got delivered, not just whether your little status light stayed green for 8 hours. Because a lot of workplaces still measure people by presence. Are you online? Are you in the building? Did you sit through every meeting? And honestly, that can make any shorter week idea fall apart fast. If your job is set up around being visibly available all the time, then a 5-day weekend concept starts sounding like a threat instead of a schedule. I guess the way I feel, this is really a question of design. Like, what is work actually for? If the goal is results, then you start asking, do we need all 5 days arranged in the same way we've always done them? But if the goal is just proving you're there, then no. You're probably not getting a 5-day weekend. You're just going to get squeezed. A simple example is if a team can finish the same essential work in 4 days because they cut clutter, reduce handoff delays, and stop doing busy work, then a shorter week can make sense. But if the workload stays messy and the expectations stay vague, then all you've done is stuff 5 days of confusion into 4. That's not freedom. That's just a headache with a better branding. So right at the top, I think it helps to set the expectation clearly. This idea usually depends less on magical working and more on changing how time is organized and how performance is judged. That's the real thing, not a beach chair, not a loophole, a redesign. So what does that redesign actually look like day to day? There are a few common versions. The first one people know is the 4-10 model, with just 4 days at 10 hours instead of 5 days at 8. Pretty straightforward. You still hit roughly the same total time, but you get 1 extra day off. For some people, that feels amazing. For other people, by hour 9, they're staring at a spreadsheet like it personally insulted them. And I get that. The trade off with 410s is obvious. The days are longer, commute, childcare, errands, energy, all that kind of stuff gets tighter. If your work needs deep focus and not a ton of interruptions, maybe that longer day is manageable. If your job is already physically draining or customer facing the whole time, those extra hours can feel pretty long. Then you have hybrid flexibility. That's less about every person following one exact compressed schedule and more about team staggering time. Maybe someone works from home certain days. Maybe people choose slightly different start and end times. Maybe one person takes Friday off and another one takes Monday so coverage stays in place. This can work nicely when the job has independent tasks and doesn't require everyone in one room all day. And then there's output-based work, which is the one people talk about like it's simple, but it's only simple if the goals are clear. In that setup, the focus is on finished work rather than clocked hours. If you meet your responsibilities, communicate well, and hit deadlines, there may be more freedom in how the week is shaped. That tends to fit knowledge work, project work, writing, design, software, planning, analysis. Things where the value is in the result more than physical presence. Some jobs adapt easier than others. Roles with project cycles, digital deliverables, or independent tasks usually have more room to experiment. Jobs that require fixed coverage, in-person service, or constant staffing can have a much harder time. Retail, healthcare, hospitality, transportation, front desk operations, places like that, those jobs often can't just decide everybody disappear an extra day. Sometimes still has to be there. The customer still shows up. The patient still needs care. The bus still has to run, That doesn't mean those jobs get nothing. It just means the solution looks different. Rotating schedules, split teams, better staffing plans, but it usually takes more coordination. And that's where reality checks come in. Meetings can wreck the whole thing. If everybody has flexible schedules, but meetings still get booked across every open hour, congratulations. You invented calendar Tetris. Coverage gaps can also turn into resentment fast if one person's freedom means another person is always stuck handling walk-ins, calls, or emergencies. So yeah, the schedule can work, but in real life, it depends on the job, the team, and how honest people are about the trade-offs. Longer days are real, coordination is real, and if nobody plans for that, the whole thing gets real annoying in a hurry. The part people skip, I think, is the system underneath it, because a fancy schedule by itself will not save a messy workplace. It just won't. If you want something like a 5-day weekend setup to actually work, there have to be rules. Not complicated rules either, but as long as they're clear, then you should be okay. First, goals have to be specific. People need to know what counts as done, what matters most, what the deadline is, and who owns what. If expectations are vague, then shorter weeks just create stress because everybody's guessing. And when people guess at work, they usually overcompensate. They stay online too long, answer stuff they don't need to answer, and fill the week back up with noise. Second, you got to cut low-value meetings. I know, everybody says that, but seriously, A lot of workplaces are meeting their day away and then acting shocked that no one has time for actual work. If the team wants more flexible time, then meetings have to earn their place. Some updates can be written, some check ins can be shorter. Some people do not need to be in every conversation just because their name is in the directory. We can let folks go. Third is planning. Better planning, not more dramatic planning. Simple stuff, shared calendars that are more accurate, deadlines that are visible, handoffs that are clear, a plan for coverage, a plan for urgent issues, a plan for who decides what when somebody's off. Because otherwise, the person on leave or on their extra day off still gets pinched. And then what's the point? Managers matter a lot here too. They have to stop measuring commitment by presence alone. That's probably the biggest shift. If a manager only trusts work they can physically see, they're going to keep pulling people back in old habits, random check-ins, unnecessary approvals, last-minute meetings, all that kind of stuff. But if they measure results, quality, timelessness, reliability, customer outcome, project completion, then the schedule has a chance. And to be fair, that can be uncomfortable. Some leaders are used to seeing everybody lined up and reachable all day. It feels orderly. It feels safe. But presence is not the same thing as productivity. Sometimes it's just attendance. And attendance alone doesn't finish the work. So the practical bottom line is pretty plain. A 5-day weekend idea works best when the system changes, not just the calendar. You need clear goals, fewer useless meetings, stronger planning, and managers who care about results instead of just who look busy the longest. If those pieces are there, then yeah, a redesigned week can feel humane and actually useful. If those pieces are missing, it's just a different shape of chaos. And I think that's a good place to leave it for today. We'll get into more of this stuff next time.